Hey everybody, this is Chachi again. It's been a while. This is an update video to the controller review I did last year. So the reason I'm making this is because now that Street Fighter 6 is around the corner and I've had a chance to play the demo on Steam, my opinion's been changing to switch over to the Final Commander 4. I've been using the Raion for the last year and I still love the controller. There's a small quirk with Street Fighter 6 where I think the Final Commander 4 is going to do better. So I'll just go over what that is later. You know, it's still too early to tell, but this is my initial impression. And if you're trying to get into Street Fighter 6 or want to prepare for it, I just want to make sure that you're well equipped. I also saw in the comments someone mentioned the Battle Beaver D-pad mod for the DualShock 4. I'll go over that real quick because I actually had some for years. I had the first run of that D-pad mod. And the Xbox Series X controller, I don't have it with me, it's at work. So I'm gonna be holding the Xbox One controller, but when you hear me talking, I'll be talking about a Series X controller. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna cover in this video. We'll move on to the next section. Alright, so let's start with the Battle Beaver D-pad mod. So I've had this for a couple of years. The reason I don't use it is because it's too accurate. So if you don't know what it does, is it turns each one of these directional inputs into their own button. If you didn't know, by default, there's this cross shape and it rocks on this pivot at the bottom to kind of give you multiple inputs and like get you diagonals and stuff like that. So what this does is makes it so that each individual button, but the reason why that's a problem for me is if you want to do like down forward inputs or down back inputs, so like block or do Hadoukens or DPs, you have to be extra accurate because you have to hit both buttons. You can't just fudge it and like do quick movements. If you do quick movements, or depending on like how you use a controller, you won't get those diagonals and you're gonna miss DPs, Hadoukens, all that. So let me show you right here. I'll do Hadouken a few times, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit mostly the edges of the D-pad. So I didn't get Hadouken there. I got one there. Right, and I missed it again. So the reason why that's happening is because if I'm at the edge, I'm going from here to here, and there's like a point where I'm not holding a diagonal because I'm hitting the edges of it, right? It's much harder. If you're playing in the center right here, which some people do, I do a lot of the time, it's less of an issue. But if you like to ride the outside of your D-pad, you're gonna drop a lot of inputs. So that's why I don't use this, because I drop a lot of things. Next, I want to cover the Series X controller really quickly. I have similar opinions. Like, I still love the Xbox One controller, which this is. I use the Series X controller, which I have, but it's at work. The difference is that the D-pad is octagon shape, and it gives you these nice diagonals that are nice, clicky, and gives you smooth directional inputs. I think it's a great controller. I don't plan to use it as my main just because it's an ergonomic thing. I prefer my D-pad towards the center of the left side or on the top left, but because it's on the bottom right, it kind of gives me awkward movements sometimes. So that's the only reason. Everything about the Xbox controller is great though. Like, if it works for you, please continue to use it. But yeah, I just want to share my opinions because I know it's been asked in the last video. And next we're going to cover the Raion and the Final Commander 4, which is the meat of this video. Alright, so let's talk about the Razer Raion. So I told you earlier I'm going to go to the Final Commander 4. There's just a small quirk with the Raion that doesn't give me full confidence at like higher levels of Street Fighter 6. I know it's kind of silly to say that because it's a demo, but it's a really important factor to the game that I'll explain later. For now, I just want to show you that the controller is still great. It does everything that you want it to do, except for that small thing. And I just want to give you confidence if you still have this controller. So here's the Hadoukens, right? Perfectly fine. DPs, perfectly fine. Tatsus, just fine. And then we'll go to the other side. DP, Hadoukens, Tatsus. We got the supers. And then we'll do supers on this side too. and then I'll do a quick comp. Yeah, so there you go. You can see that it works perfectly fine in most circumstances. In the next clip, it might be a little hard to reproduce, so I'm going to split it off into another section. I'll show you why I'm going to be changing. Okay, so let me talk about my issue with the Raion, and honestly, it might sound kind of stupid and silly because of how specific this issue is, but I think it's important for Street Fighter 6. So the issue I'm having is when I go from down back or back into a super input, sometimes I won't get the necessary inputs to complete that super. And in other games, that's not a big deal because if you do a double Hadouken motion, you'll usually get a DP. But in Street Fighter 6 and Street Fighter 5, you'll get a DP that's not invincible, right? And then the opponent can kill you because that's considered a punch counter. In Street Fighter 6, the reason why this is scary is because drive impacts, you won't be able to counter that with a parry, a drive impact of your own, or a EX move because you don't have any drive meters. So your only option is the super. And if you're in the heat of the moment and you're playing flexies, right, you have to have full confidence to be able to beat their beat their drive impact with your super. You can see right there, I tried to do a reaction super, and this is what I got. First Hadouken, perfectly fine. Second one, I go from down back, which is messy input, but you know, it's the heat of the moment. And then I miss a down input, and I go down forward and forward. So this should have been a super, but because I missed a down from down forward to down forward, or down back to down forward, I didn't complete that, and then I got a DP instead. So that's the reason why I'm switching. It only happens on player one side, and it's so inconsistent. So on the right side, I could do it perfectly all the time, not an issue. So retreating, right? Super, perfectly fine. Walk back, super, perfectly fine. It's only on the left side for some reason where I have that issue. Let me see, did that issue happen here? Yeah, it did, okay. So you can see right here, I guess that was pretty bad too, but I got down back, down forward, and forward punch, right? So that's the issue that I'm having. It's not that big a deal because honestly, the reason why this issue is happening is because I'm doing the down back on the second motion. If I were to just do down back core circle forward into core circle forward without that down back, that wouldn't be an issue. But you know, if you're in the heat of the moment, you don't want to think about that extra step to do the input correctly. So that's why I am not going to be using this controller. See, it happened again. I'm going left, right, core circle forward. First one turned out perfectly fine. The second one, I missed a down input, and I completed the motion, but I didn't get the super. Yeah. So let me go to the Fighting Commander 4. I'll just show you that it doesn't happen on the controller, and then I could do other things perfectly fine on that as well. Alright, so I'm just going to show you that I am not having an issue on the Fighting Commander 4. So if I'm playing neutral and I have to react with super, I get that perfectly fine, right? Okay, footsies, yep, super. And then I'll go from down back, super. I get every single time, right? And then if I go to the other side and do the same thing, footsies, super, block, 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 reaction with super, block back, hold block, super. I don't get that weird phantom down input, and I get my supers every single time. And for all the other inputs, like I showed you in the other video, they're perfectly fine. I get all my inputs fine on both sides, And again, we'll do that same combo on this side. Right, so I don't have any issues with the Fighting Commander 4. The Raion issue is so minor that I feel silly complaining about it, because I still love the controller, but because I have one less thing to worry about on the Fighting Commander 4, that's why I'm switching over. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, well, this is the end of the video. Thanks again for watching. I hope this shed some light on why I'm switching over. I'm going to the FC4 over the Raion, which I love, and it served me well for the last year, but just for my needs, I think the FC4 is going to do a better job. I still think this is a great controller, so don't be afraid to use this, but I really want to push myself when Street Fighter 6 comes out, so that's why I'm sticking with this one. The only problem is it's discontinued now, so if you want to pick one up yourself, you'll have to pay a high price, or you'll have to get a Switch version, and then you'll have to get a Switch to PS5 adapter, which I don't even know if they do that. So yeah, take a look into that. That's actually one common complaint I have with all these pads is durability. They all seem to break. And you might be wondering, well, if that's the case, why don't you just play on stick? I actually used to for 8 to 10 years. And what's nice is, you know, you can replace all the parts super easily and you have all these options. But I developed carpal tunnel and I can't really play on it for very long anymore, maybe like 30 minutes. So in the future, one thing I want to actually get and test from like an ergonomic like point of view might be an ergo box. So it's like a hitbox that's in like an ergonomic shape. And that's been really exciting to me. So if I make another one of these videos, that's probably what it's going to be based on. So yeah, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It helped people out. Leave comments if you have any questions, especially actually if you know of a way to like solve that issue on the Raion. Please let me know. I'd be willing to try out mods or whatever. So yeah, thanks again. Take care, everyone. Bye.